Okay, so have you ever completely misheard song lyrics? Like you're singing along thinking you know every word.
Happens to the best of us, right?
Totally. And then you actually look up the lyrics and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, like I've been singing that this whole time.
Exactly. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into this whole idea of misheard lyrics, but with a twist.
Always love a good twist.
We're looking at a blog post from The Liet Show, written by Liet Portal. She talks about how mishearing a song at a 30 Seconds to Mars concert sparked this whole reflection on, get this, cultural identity.
And that's what's so fascinating about personal stories like this, right? They reveal these unexpected connections. Yeah. Between things that, on the surface, seem totally unrelated.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, Liet goes to this concert. She's a big 30 Seconds to Mars fan. And their song, The Kill, you know it. Oh, yeah, classic.
So it starts playing, and she's singing along, but there's one part she's been mishearing for years. She thought it was "Come, break me down, marry me, marry me."
Oh, wow. Okay, I kind of see where she's coming from with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But the actual lyrics, "Come, break me down, bury me, bury me."
Wow, that's totally different, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, bury me versus marry me. That's quite a leap.
Exactly. But here's the thing. For Liet, those misheard marry me lyrics actually made sense, like in the context of her background. She's a Moroccan Israeli woman, and she talks about how in that culture, it's not uncommon for men to express these really intense, almost contradictory feelings.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like to her, break me down, followed immediately by marry me, that actually tracks with how some men in her culture communicate.
That's a really key insight into cultural dynamics, right?
Mm.
What might seem totally illogical from one perspective can make perfect sense within a different cultural context.
That's exactly what I thought. So she's saying she basically internalized this cultural norm without even realizing it, and it actually affected how she heard the song.
Wild, right?
It is wild. It really highlights how deeply ingrained these cultural influences can be. Even if we're not consciously aware of them, they're shaping our perceptions, our understanding of the world around us.
Totally. And it makes you think, how often are we misinterpreting things, not because we're not paying attention, but because we're seeing them through this culturally shaped lens?
Right. And
Yeah.
that's just scratching the surface of Liet's story. As she digs deeper into this whole lyrics revelation, it brings back all these memories about her relationship with music, especially growing up. Oh, I love that, like how music connects to memory. Tell me more.
Well, she talks about how her dad used to take her to concerts all the time, and it fostered this love of music that's clearly stayed with her. It's actually really sweet.
It's like this concert, right? It's not just about the music. It's like this catalyst bringing back all these other memories.
Totally. And this is where Liet's story, I think, really connects with a lot of people. That power of shared experiences, especially with family.
100%.
She talks about how, growing up, her dad would take her to all these concerts, and it really fostered this love for music in her, which you can definitely see in her writing.
Oh, that's so sweet. It makes me think about like those early concert experiences, you know? Did you have someone who took you to shows when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My parents weren't huge concert goers themselves, but I remember, like, this one time my mom took me to see this local band. I think I was like 12, and it was in this tiny little club, super loud, kind of chaotic, but I loved it. And honestly, looking back, I think it meant a lot to me that my mom was willing to, like, go out of her comfort zone and do that with me.
I love that. It's those kinds of things you remember, right? Not just the music itself, but who you were with, that shared experience.
Exactly. And Leah talks about that too. Like, she doesn't just reminisce about these concerts. She actually encourages parents to do the same with their own kids.
I agree, 100%. It's so important to create those memories, expose kids to art and music, even if it means like venturing out to a rock concert every now and then.
Okay.
Exactly. And it's not just about the music itself, right? It's about that connection you build.
Totally. Think about it. Music has this incredible ability to evoke these, like, really specific emotions, transport you back to a particular time and place. And when you share those experiences with someone, it's like those memories become intertwined.
It's like you're building this shared history, a soundtrack to your life with the people you love.
I love that. A soundtrack to your life.
And the crazy thing is, in Liet's case, this all came from her, like realizing she misheard those lyrics for years. It's like this one little thing sparked this whole chain reaction of memories and reflection.
It is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder what other, like, hidden connections are buried within our own experiences just waiting to be, unearthed.
Right. What if we're just scratching the surface of our own stories?
Exactly. And as we unpack Leah's story further, you'll see how this whole journey of like self-discovery through music ultimately leads to this even more profound realization.
So, okay, we've talked about the misheard lyrics, the cultural piece, those family concert memories. Where does Leah take it from there?
Well, this is where I think it gets really interesting. This whole thought process, right? It leads her to this big realization about like her own perception.
Okay, now I gotta know. What's the big revelation?
So she realizes that she basically internalized this like cultural norm. This thing about men expressing intense emotions, sometimes even contradictory ones. It's so ingrained that it affected how she heard the song.
Wow, so it's like this subconscious filter was shaping her reality.
Exactly. And
And
it makes you wonder, right? What other filters are we all carrying around without even realizing it?
it's kind of freaky when you think about it, like how much of what we perceive is actually influenced by, I don't know, our culture, our upbringing, all those past experiences.
Is a little bit mind-bending, isn't it? But I also think it's empowering. Like, if we can start to recognize those subconscious influences, it allows us to, question our assumptions, be more open-minded, more empathetic.
100%. It's not about erasing those influences, but like you said, being aware of them so we can choose how they shape our understanding.
Exactly. And it all goes back to Lyatt's experience, right? By digging into something as honestly kind of random as misheard song lyrics, she ends up uncovering this really profound insight about cultural influence and the power of self-reflection.
It's true. Sometimes those little things, those moments where something doesn't quite add up, those can be the things that teach us the most.
For sure. And Leah's story is such a good reminder that even in those everyday experiences, like listening to your favorite song, there can be these like extraordinary insights just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. And that's what we love about a good dip dive, right? It's not just about scratching the surface, it's about going deeper, asking those bigger questions, and
Mhm.
yeah, exploring new perspectives. So, next time you catch yourself mishearing a lyric, don't just brush it off. Take a second, think about it. You might be surprised at what you discover. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.